Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Mr. Optimistic. Today we're going to talk about three tips: how to stay consistent with training and how to get the most out of the training. So for me, it's really been maximizing my results by keeping everything as consistent and calculated as possible, right? And it all starts with sleep. And sleep is instrumental with your recovery and instrumental in your success. So I personally lay out everything from the night before that I'm going to use with training. So that goes with my gym bags all ready to go by the door, and my clothes are ready to go, socks, shoes, everything. I kind of do a little check on what I need for the morning's training. For me, I take a picture of the programming because I record with my main phone right here, the 11 Pro Max, and I take down all my lifts with the Strong app on a different older phone. So I kind of reference those percentages and do the calculations off of that, and just kind of make sure my day goes real smooth that way. So for me, I usually get up around 5:30 in the morning every day, and brush my teeth, do the whole thing, and make sure I usually start with something light. And for me, I like lifting on a light stomach. I don't really like to eat anything really heavy going into the workout, although my commute is about 35 minutes or so to get to the gym. So even if I feel very famished from the night before, then I would eat a little bit more and everything kind of digests during the commute. So it kind of works out that way. But my main point is you want to make sure how your body reacts to the amount of food, because some people can lift on a heavy stomach and some people can lift on nothing, and that's pretty unique. So you want to really assess your body and make sure what's the most efficient thing for you to do, as an athlete, to make sure you have enough fuel or willpower for that matter to complete that whole training. For me, if it's going to be a heavy session, kind of like the one you're seeing right now, then I would eat a little bit more. So this day I had about 5 eggs and a bowl of oatmeal, just a packet of oatmeal, I should say, with some almond milk. So by the time I got there, everything was kind of digested and kind of ready to go, and I didn't really have any problem pushing through the workout, although it was about 85% with some top sets right here. So you got to just make sure with your commute, if you need more time, if there's traffic or anything like that, you want to make sure you calculate that, into your warm-up, because I hear it all the time. People are like, dude, my hips are tight, man. Like, I had just more traffic than usual. So you want to make sure you warm up properly. Everybody's different. I know some people who can just grab a barbell and start loading the bar and just get it going, and those people are very lucky in some aspects, but some days you feel great and other days you just need a little bit longer. So you kind of want to do a series of system checks with your body and make sure that everything is good and primed and ready to go. Either jump on the salt bike, maybe go on the rower, or even some bodyweight movements is efficient enough to get your body all primed and ready to go. So actually I have an interesting story about my right hip being tight for about a month. It was very, very weird, but one day when I was doing a clean, I was like, wow, why am I twisting? And, I was kind of backing away from getting my hips through the bar in a clean. And my coach was like, yeah, it looks like your hips are all off. So when I was, kind of filling it out, my right hip was really tight. So I was just, I had to roll it out before every workout, and it was just really annoying because it just added to my time in the gym. And I just try to get, in and out, get everything done efficiently, I would say, within an hour and 20 max. So I listened to, I don't know what the podcast was, but I remember them talking about an athlete that blew out his hamstring, and because there's some imbalances, but long story short, it was because the way he was sitting in his car, that his hips weren't aligned all the time. So when I was driving, I looked at my hips and I realized that my right hip my hips weren't square driving, and it was my left hip was a little bit forward. So I repositioned my hips and just kind of made a more conscious effort to keep my hips square, and within about 5 days the hip problem went away. And little things like that just compound, right? Because that could have been, quote, nagging injury for, maybe months at a time until I kind of just started experimenting around and making sure everything was, properly aligned. And, sidebar, no contact muscle snatches, dude, those are rough. Those are rough. You want to make sure you get your hips through during the midpoint, or you're going to use your back to finish the rest. But I digress. So, going back with just making sure your body is primed and ready to go, you want to make sure, with everything that's going on outside of training, that outside influences don't roll over into training. You want to try to make sure you limit any outside variables so you get the most out of your training. Tip number two is starting position. A consistent starting position makes a great athlete. You cannot expect to hit PRs during a competition if your starting position is all over the place. So it doesn't matter if you do 1,000 snatches, they should all land in the same spot. And if they don't, that is a major tell, and one of the easiest tells that something happened during your pull or leg drive or finish catching position went wrong. All the snatches I miss and the ones that I step forward or back, I know that there is an issue with either the landing position, the finish position, or my start was messed up. So that's, again, another easy thing that you can do to kind of critique yourself. And the best thing you can do is, if you see how this gym has mats in it, right? If you can line up your feet up to the edge of a mat, that is one of the easiest things to do. Or if you have some chalk or a piece of tape, you can put that right in front of your starting position to make sure that you're even starting wise, right? So I would just recommend that you have either someone critique you or someone take a look at your starting position to make sure it's the same exact one all the time. Once you get that down, then all you got to worry about is strength, because that takes a big part of this weird, crazy equation of Olympic weightlifting out of it. So the less things you have to think about, the more efficient and the better off you're going to be. Last but not least, tip number three. Tip number three is limit outside distractions. That will be staying out later when you're about to max the next day. You should have your programming set so you know what days you're lifting heavy and what days you need a little bit more rest than usual, right? Listen to your body, but you want to limit as many outside distractions as you can. The things that you can control for the most part is when you're in bed trying to go to sleep. And you want to make sure you plan, if you can, your social events accordingly to your programming. That sounds very boring. That sounds like work, and it is. If you want to excel at this sport and be as competitive as you possibly can, you need to limit those distractions. I'm not saying go cold turkey, live as a hermit or anything like that, but the less distractions, the less variables you have to worry about, the better you are going to be in training. So I've been guilty of that. I recently cut down on a lot of things that are outside influences, and I have seen dramatic results in terms of strength gains and how I perform consistently. So, again, everybody's different. Everybody needs balance. I'm not saying go cold turkey, but you definitely need to be more conscious on what you do before heavy lifting days or before training. Plan accordingly, man. That's all that I'm gonna say about that. Well, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. Like if you can, subscribe, comment below, give me some feedback. Let me know how I'm doing. Until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video. Peace.